revolutionary stone buildings on the most historic corner in America, where the seeds of democracy were sown. Colonial Kingston, New York's first capital. Okay, first thing, Gerald, tell me where this corner is. We've talked about it before, but I'm going to be back in New Hampshire and then going to Hartford and flying. If it's on the way, I can stop by. That would be exactly what I do.
Oh, I'd love you to stop by. Maybe we could do a broadcast from here as well.
All right, tell me where.
Okay, well, Kingston we're about 90 miles north of New York City. This was the third Dutch settlement. And there are more pre-Revolutionary War stone buildings here than anywhere else in the country. And the buildings that we own are on the corner of Crown and John Street. And it's the only place where there's a pre-Revolutionary War stone building on each corner. The other one is a museum. And I bought these because at one time I was looking to leave the country. I got fed up with the stupidity of the politics. And I've traveled the world pretty well. And I was in Berlin, to make a very long story short, and I'd never been there before.
Too late.
And I saw how beautiful the place was before it was bombed out. All you see an old building and all new construction at the same height. And I said to myself, how could this have happened? And here are the Germans in the 1930s. They're at the height of Western civilization, scientifically, culturally. I mean, you think of the names, philosophically, and they let a little freak destroy their country. And I'm, of Italian descent, and the same thing. How could they let a Mussolini destroy what took centuries to build? And I came back, and there was a for sale sign on one of the buildings, the 1750 Franz Rogen House. This is in 2012. And I bought it, and I ended up buying the other three.
Did you get a deal? And was it a good deal? And you have to refurb?
It wasn't even that. It was again, this is 2012. The economy was soft. Real estate, I got very low mortgage rates. Anyway, I said to myself, you can't run away. There are two-bit freaks everywhere. This is my country. Love it or leave it. No, you leave it. I wouldn't be me if I wasn't born. If I was born in Altavilla Appina in Italy, I'd be a different guy than being born in the Bronx. I've had it with these politicians destroying this country. And this is where, again, with the right across the street from me is the courthouse. John Jay was a judge there. This was the first capital. The Constitution that was written there, most of our Constitution comes from there. So I bought these buildings as a true patriot to defend what this country has given me, and I got these little jerks trying to destroy. So that's why I bought them.
Good for you. Okay, I'm going to be going through, it's 200 miles from Boston. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it on this trip. It'd be too much time out. But I'd like to. I mean, I tell you what, if I'd known this, next trip I make back there, we'll include, we'll go there. We'll do it.
I love it. Yeah, I know. And anybody could go, anybody listening, just go most historic four corners in America, Kingston, New York, and you'll see the buildings, how beautiful they are.
All right. This is what I want to talk about, this attitude right here. This is what's going I'm going to, we'll be going to Fork Fest, Somalia Fest, Pork Fest. Then we're going to Red Pill Expo, G. Edward Griffin's thing in Spokane. Then I'm going to the National Libertarian Convention. Then I'm going to be chilling and whatever. But amongst all this, we're going to be talking about a lot of these issues with a lot of the guys. When I do my summer go around, okay, what say you? And I just talked to Gerald, and he said this, and, whatever. But this is the thing. I see it's even the younger, average age, voluntarist, Ron Pauling, I was, 13 when I, kind of thing. These guys are getting older. They're starting to have kids. They're getting married. They're, wow, the student debt thing sucks. And, and then, of course, the older guys like you having to make the decision, am I leaving? Am I staying? What am I going to do? Just go whip ass? Well, I'm getting the impression that a lot of the people, such as, you're my generations, man, it's common. These guys, you don't know what's happened for decades, and now it's stipulated. Yeah, what's your point? Yeah, we rule. Now we got 40 years celebrating of, the Trilateral Commission of Central Foreign Bilderberg secret handshake people. Yeah, we've always been here, ha, 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 and now we rule. And they go, okay, now it's stipulated. Now everybody knows what the battle lines are about. Let's get into it. We're going to fight. We're going get free. We're going to free ourselves from and decentralize life and and whip ass and do what Gerald says and buy quality and grow our own tomato plants and our, own milk cartons, and we'll take care of business. Well, what's your plan? To come back. You're going, all right, we're going to get some. All right, how? What? We're going to go vote our way out? What?
Well, my plan is two things. One thing, I launched OccupyPeace.com, and we're going to begin doing Occupy Peace festivals. But there's a purpose to it. This isn't just going out and saying, going out and forgetting about what happened. This is a program for peace. Bring home the troops, use the troops to secure the border. You remember, people may know, the WPA, the Work Projects Administration, during the Depression, put the troops to work rebuilding our third world infrastructure. Most importantly, have Congress vote to go to war, which they have not done since World War II. And now I'm going to get to the big one. A referendum on each state ballot will tell Congress how to vote. They don't represent us. They represent the people that give them money. Morons call it campaign contributions. Adults call it bribes and payoffs. Now I'm going to come to the big one. That will be the biggest way to change this country. Direct democracy with, I call it, it's blockchain democracy. Meaning that everybody, you well know, you're one of the experts in cryptocurrencies and what blockchain does. Yeah. You make the decision and it's blocked once you make the transaction. So now we should be voting online, blockchain. No, don't tell me it'll be hacked. I got this BS system you got in every damn state that's a lot of garbage. I got to wait online, a long line, and some little moron feeling important that day, treating me like a piece of crap when I'm going in there. No, now we could do this all online. If we could bank online, it's trillions of dollars could be transacted each day throughout the world online. We could vote online. So blockchain democracy. We the people tell these little boys and girls who don't represent us what we want.
Are you hooked up with people that can do that technology? Because I just went to a thing at Texas A&M, and that's what they're working on, and there's different crypto guys that are ready to go, man.
Well, this is what we're doing. No, we don't have that. Again, you asked me, and so what we've done.
No, if you need help on that, I got.
We need a lot of help.
Boom,
we need tons of help.
Done. I could get you in touch with Gerald Celente. They'd love to talk to Gerald Celente wants to do this. Well, hell, that's all you had to say. We got it right here. So it's good to have, when you advocate for that, to have a solution in your little pocket. And it's in my little thumb drive right here. I show you. Wrote a song about it. Like to hear it? Here you go. All right, so we're going to we'll help Gerald out, whatever it is he wants to do. Whether I want to do it or not, doesn't matter. Help Gerald. Gerald Celente's got a plan. We got to have all these plans out there. Tell you what sticks will work. We'll see. From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. Oh yeah, pirateswithoutborders.com. We got a video contest coming up to help with some of the design. You got to go see. You go to pirateswithoutborders.com. You click on the top masthead, and you see the video of the pirate ship that we're doing, and the letters of Captain Mark, and it's all about decentralization of everything. It's decentralization of communication, decentralization of education, transportation, food, health. blah, 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 blah. And that's our thing. But a lot of that can overlap with a lot of the people's projects. And voting, I've been a big deal on voting. 44 Arizona laws challenged in the Ninth Circuit while I oral argued myself, blah, 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 silly. But the point is that I know how corrupt it is. Not doubt in my mind. There's a lot of other solutions, but even then, if it was accurate, whether I want to do the democracy thing or not, but I mean, I just don't want them lying to me. So the thing is that it's Nexus Earth, a guy named Colin Cantrell that has crypto that can do a whole bunch of stuff, and they're designing and whatever. We were at a United We Stand thing that's done by Christina Tobin that did the third-party presidential debates with Larry King. I don't know, do you remember that?
Yes.
So that group did a thing at Texas A&M, and Jeff Berwick and Luke Radowski and myself and Colin and a bunch of guys went there just to kind of show support for. And she's really big into blockchain voting. Now,
oh, great.
They have they want a solution to something. Well, he agreed to code it for them, and to them, they're like, oh yeah, I'll do that over the weekend, kind of crap. So, if I put Gerald Celente in with these guys, and you want to have this, whether you agree with them philosophically or not even the freaking point. It's that they're doing this, and you say and look over there they're doing, they would love that. And that take me 30 seconds in the email to all y'all, and you're done.
That'd be wonderful. Again, blockchain democracy is, you have no agenda. Everybody thinks of themselves and votes the way they want. And then you hear this. Look, what country per capita is the richest? Switzerland. When was the last time they were in war? About 1857.
Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Donna sent an email to Christina Tobin, Colin Cantrell, and Gerald Celente, telling them that Gerald is endorsing blockchain voting, wants to work with him and promote, and he gets and uses an example of and make it go where. You do that? Boom. Done.
Thank you.
See how easy it was? All right, here we're coming back.
To be a part of the show, call 602-264-2800. 602-264-2800. And now, Ernest Hancock.
Celente, yeah, we got him hooked up. He's got, blockchain, because there's some stuff happening, so we're going to put him in touch with some people that are actually doing it and know how to do it and doing it and customizing it's done. There's another gentleman. Oh, include John Brakey also in that. John Brakey is a election activist. He mostly from the left, but he and I have been working together for, 15 years. And he goes, wow, I did all the research on the corruption, whatever, in Arizona, and you kept coming up, and they started listening to the show, and, I said, all right, well, all these categories of shows on election, go listen to that, 10 hours or whatever, and then you come back and we'll talk. Boom! He went heavy duty as an expert all around the country, documenting the fraud and how, so you definitely need to get him involved. So if you're serious about voting, Gerald is going to fix it. I got the guys. I help you out. But, is that really all that needs to be done? Voting, what if something else? Does something else needs to be done? What is it?
Well, again, one thing at a time. And again, to make it clear, the richest country in the world per capita is Switzerland. Everybody, by the way, has guns over there. They're not blowing each other's brains out. They haven't been in a war since about 1857. And who's the president of Switzerland? People would never be able to know, because the politicians don't make a difference. They have direct democracy. The people vote. And then people say, well, it's a small country. It makes no difference whether it's 11 million, 320 million. You're voting. And again, with blockchain democracy, boom, your votes are made instantly. Oh, and by the way, everybody could watch it to make sure it's not being hacked. It's open up to everyone. Now, then people say, well, Gerald, the people are too stupid. Oh, yeah, of course we are. I would rather put my trust in little Paulie Ryan. No. How about Lindsay? Did you come out of the closet yet, Graham? Maybe Nancy out of her mind, Pelosi, or Diane Not So Feinstein. I got little Chucky Schumer over here. What, are you kidding me? These little jerks are smarter than me, than you. So let us make this a true democracy. We the people are in charge, not a bunch of little slimy murderers and thieves that jerks call Republicans and Democrats. How many more wars do they have to start based on lies, and how much more of our money do they have to steal in names of too big to fail and building up these big monopolies?
Well, how are you going to, the solution? I understand the problem. Gerald
now
Celente is all over the problem, man.
Now the solution is, okay, Trump comes out or anybody comes out with a tax plan. We review the tax plan. Okay, we'll vote. You want to go into Yemen? We'll vote. You want to occupy peace? Close down those 1,000 bases over there. Bring home the troops and spend our money rebuilding America. We the people vote. You don't like that idea? Fine. You vote the other way. I'm not going to tell anybody how to vote. These are the issues. These are what we have. Every time there's a major issue, we the people vote. Look, politicians. I began my career at a graduate school running the campaigns in Westchester County, New York. I was the number 2 guy running the mayoral campaign in Yonkers. They sent me up to Albany. I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate at 23. When you say how corrupt the system is, I saw it firsthand. What a bunch of losers. The same people you hated in high school and college that wanted to be class president and head of the student council are now running and ruining our lives.
Well, this is my problem. You described the problem for me is that there's all these guys running my lives. I don't want them to run my life whether I voted for them or not. I mean, now the direct democracy in, and what are you saying? Switzerland?
Switzerland.
Okay. Now, Switzerland, how is that manifested? I mean, they still have a government. So anytime they want to do what? Anything goes to a vote? How often and how?
On major issues, or
define major issue.
On major issues, or as I was going to say, or on referendum. So, in other words, what people will do is they'll say, "We want to vote on this issue." So the people will decide what issue they want to vote on. They let the government run the operation, like you have a city manager running the operation. But when something big comes up that they don't want, maybe. They want to decide on, even to an issue, for example, that happened a few years ago, the bigger Muslim population. So they didn't want to hear at 3 o'clock in the afternoon these minarets going off telling everybody to go pray. So they had to put it on, let the people vote. So something as simple as that to something more advanced than that. So the people decide. And again, we're building a new system here, so we have to develop.
Well, should it go down? What's your thing on state? I give you a good example. Trump comes out and he says, I think we'll go 10th Amendment down. The states decide marijuana, and I don't care, and we'll just shoot Sessions or something. I mean, So I go, okay. So that goes down. We're decentralizing from federal down to the state, and I'm like, cool. Get down to the individual, and we got something. But so now we're doing this democracy, direct democracy. Is everything a federal case, or it should be, down to the states?
Again, we're just starting this. We're just we discuss it, how we're going to do it, and then we say, okay, let's do it statewide too. Of course we should be doing it statewide.
But the bottom line in this is that Gerald Celente believes, as with a lot of people, as I go around, certainly my age and older. They're still thinking, we got to get back. That's the only game in town. We got to get back in charge of, the courthouses and the marble and the monuments and stuff. So, I mean, is there another mechanism, or do you think that it's going to flow from political power?
Well, again, not political power, because if anybody listening right now, Google up the definition of politician. And it'll say a politician is a person who is professionally involved in politics, running for office, blah, 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 blah. Then the next one is a person who acts in a manipulative and devious way, typically to gain advancement within an organization. So anything having to do with politics is manipulative and devious. It's to destroy the political system. It has not worked. They're raping us in front of our eyes. You know, when you're looking at, for example, the economy's doing great. Yeah, it is. And one of the reasons why, how about those tax breaks? Oh, you mean the tax breaks that have now allowed corporations to repatriate that money overseas, that most of it's going into stock buybacks?
Yeah, tell us about that real quick. Now,
stock buybacks is what's driving the markets forward. Right now, there's more stock buyback and merger and acquisition activity at this time of year than any time before, even bigger than before the panic of '08.
Yeah, see, this is something I heard somebody saying, yep, everybody's taking, they're not doing their summer plans, man. They're in it. There's all these mergers and acquisitions from all this repatriated money from the tax breaks, the way that Trump did it, so that people wouldn't have to have it out of the country. It's coming back.
The Free State Project has...
Yeah, it's coming back, and they're... I guess they're mergering and acquisitioning. I mean, if that's any better and the stock market goes up, this just doesn't seem real to me. But I mean, having all that money coming back here will also help fuel the inflation. That's what we were worried, inflating in prices, because that's what we were worried about before. What happens when all this money around the world comes back to the U.S., and, usually with a competition of some foreign currency or something, but or crypto or whatever. But what Trump did was, it repatriated and it came back. I don't know what they got more in taxes or not, but man, it's causing inflation of the stock market.
Of course it is. And again, what's Trump most interested in all his life? Making money. And the Tax Policy Center, a nonpartisan group, shows that 82% of the benefits of the tax cuts went to the 1%. I mean, that's all this guy's ever been interested in. And by the way, you know me. I mean, I call anybody, what I see right or I believe, think is, fair or truthful. The things I agree with Trump on are the tariffs and the trade issues. I mean, they're robbing us of all this dough. But again, people don't forget the other part of it, that our corporations sold us out to give all the technology to China and other poor countries so they could get slave labor to make their stuff and then make more money on it. So I agree with him on that, and I agree with him on what happened with Korea. I'm totally against what he did with putting the embassy in Jerusalem. So I'm saying there are things, positives and negatives. And by the way, more so than any other president I remember in many years, where there's so much action going on. So going back to the tax cuts and that just benefits the very rich. When you and I were young, there were no such thing as private equity groups that own half the world.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here. The way I see it, I look at all these acquisitions and mergers. It's merger of media, which you know what that means. And you have all of this stuff, and I look at these different industries, and I feel the suppression just dialing down every aspect of my life, and they get a cut, be it utilities or media or food and then you go, all the same guys are on all the same company's board of directors. I mean, it's like they're all the same thing.
And it's unprecedented. That doesn't. Oh, I mentioned mergers and acquisition. The Blackstone Group. They're the biggest hotel owner I read today in Spain. It's all over the world. And so what they've done is they've monopolized the country. The gap here. This is worse than it was during the Gilded Age by the numbers.
Oh, see? Okay. We're going to. This is one thing that I recognized. I started watching World War I documentaries, seeing that the parallels between what was happening back then and now, it's like way too close.
Look what happened in Italy with the Five-Star Movement and the League. And that's what's not happening here. There's the guy who they didn't want as finance minister, Paolo Savona, he's 81 years old. He's been writing about this for years. He said all the European Union is a colony of Germany. We're all colonies of Germany. They want the euro because if they still had the Deutschmark, they wouldn't be able to be exporting the number of products they're exporting. They're the second largest exporter in the world after China. So now he said, and the reason why it's happening, and this is the point. He said,
all right, here, we're coming back. Let's go ahead and talk about it on there. Here we go.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Yeah, get your money for nothing. You know, well, some of these guys do, I guess. You know, that's one thing Gerald Celente and I are talking off air about, you know, the parallels. I mean, you know, some older guys kind of know what's up. And we're sitting here going, man, this sounds vaguely familiar. And you started talking about the Gilded Age. You know, these mergers and acquisitions, Trump changing the tax laws and repatriates a whole boatload of money that's been offshore outside of, man, you can't get it over here. And we did, and Stroke Dash did the form of our lobbyists made sure that we could have, and kind of you don't get tax money. And then he goes, look, we can repatriate that if we do this. Well, they did it. Boom, here comes all the money. Well, it said, you want to know why the stock market's shooting up? Because they're using that money. And they're, you know, mergers and acquisitions, and everybody's, you know, not doing their summer vacation to get these through, you know, as soon as possible. Well, okay. Then Gerald says, you know, the Gilded Age had, I go, woo, well, what have I been doing? I've been rewatching or watching for the first time a lot of stuff on the First World War. The First World War, which really was the beginning of the Second World War, all this restructuring of the monarchs and the people and the populism and, you know, ouch, quit it, and the mind control of we got to be in the afraid of a guy. And it got to the point, big giant wars, and it's happening again. And you just see the same kind of thing going on. It's they, them, those at Bilderberg all freaked out about the people expressing themselves. Well, you know what resets what they want the way they want? A freaking war. And I'm going, it feels that way. What say you, Gerald?
well, what you just said, by the way, the First World War was the beginning of the Second World War. And anybody that knows, you know, anything about history knows that. But most people, and they don't teach us that, of course, in the dumb system that they call the education system in America. And if it was worth anything, you think we'd be in the problems that we have. So going back to World War I, another lying little piece of crap that should rot in hell, Woodrow Wilson. He's the guy that lied his way into office, kind of like Obama playing the peace candidate and winning the Nobel Piece of Crap Prize. And right after he does it, he increases the war in Afghanistan, destroys Libya, and then goes on the way to try to destroy Syria. Well, Wilson was the same kind of lying little freak. And what he did is he got us into World War I, and as everybody knows, a totally senseless war that had no business to ever happen, that destroyed most of Europe. So what happens? Well, we need more money to fight this war. So I got an idea. How about a federal income tax? Oh, and I got another idea. Why don't we take more power away from the people, and we'll start a thing called the Federal Reserve, which, as everybody knows that listens to your show, that is as federal as Federal Express. It's the banksters. It's a private group of banks that control our monetary system. So going back to this, it's the same situation, as you pointed out, that led to the wars and the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few. The gap between the rich and the poor in the United States is the widest of any of the industrialized nations. That's a fact. We are now, the rich have more money than they had per capita than during the Gilded Age. This is in America. They sold out all our jobs. Now you could get a job at Walmart or Kmart. Kmart's gone. Walmart or Target or any other crummy job that you might, maybe McDonald's you could work at. Again, everything concentrated in the hands of a few. They've done away with the antitrust regulations that prevented that from happening. The Robinson-Patman Act, Sherman Antitrust Act, Clayton Antitrust Act, and others. So now, what this is a new Gilded Age. And you're seeing the resistance coming overseas, whether it's the AfD Party, Alternative for Deutschland in Germany, whether it's the Freedom Party in Austria, or the election they just had in Italy with Five Star Movement and League. So what happened? They are anti-Euro. They want their freedom. They they're disgusted with globalization that has made everybody poorer. The numbers are there. But in America, there's no resistance at this point. People argue, which freak is better? My freak is better than your freak. My Republican freak isn't as bad as your Democratic freak. And they argue. So what we need, again, going back to where we began, direct democracy, blockchain democracy. We the people, not you the clown politicians.
Well, and that manifests itself in what way? I mean, you could have, like you're saying, voting, or boycott, or I buy this over that. I'm more in the free market. I tell you what's happening, Gerald. It's a decentralization of everything. I see it coming. And I'm just, it's going to be satellite-based Wi-Fi, ubiquitous. They can't stop. I got connection, top of my house, top of my phone, top of my head, whatever. And I can do it faster, off their grid. They don't get to surveil, and then we can do commerce. I have cryptocurrencies that allow me to do uncensored. They can't stop it. Secure transactions between a kid in the Amazon and a kid in the Congo. At 13, selling widgets and delivered by drone. I'm having artificial intelligence that hopefully doesn't control me, that I can do a bunch of kind of stuff in my assistant forever and always, and I'm good, make my hair appointment. I have electric cars that I charge with its solar panel on the hood that does a high efficiency, blah, 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 with the batteries that can store whatever. You see my point? It keeps going on and on and on, just like the printing press empowered the individual mind to be able to, Wayne's World from their grandma's basement in the 80s, talk to the planet of just a couple of guys competing with the networks. I mean, we saw this coming, and it's here now. The individual production of food, to be able to just get off the grid, to do your own power. I see the man and all the special interests, their power diminishing so much. If you had Gerald Celente doing, like you say, you buy quality, you buy local, that kind of stuff right there, I'm going, that's what's going to bring them down. Why do you think Kmart's gone? Why do you think Walmart's on the chopping block? Why do you think it's because they operate on such a fine margin that if you get just some bad news, they freaking go out of business.
That's correct. But the other problem is that you have when you, for example, I coined the term clean food back in 1993. New York Times did a big story on it. First book I worked on, by the way, was called Natural Healing. It was a Warner book back in the late 80s. So, and by the way, I also have an honorary doctorate of law from the National University of Health Sciences for the work I've done in complementary and integrative medicine. So I believe, and in my book Trend Tracking, Trends 2000, which I wrote in '96, I talked about healthy fast food places when nobody was talking about it. So I understand it. But when you look at the real number, it's very small. For example, what you look at the entire retail market and the food market, and you're looking at about $500 billion. Out of that, you're lucky if $60 billion is organic. So what I'm saying is, does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority.
Irate. Gerald Celente's irate. You do some irate there. Go irate us, man.
Keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, Samuel Adams. So what I'm saying is, yes, you're correct, but it's up to us. We have to unite to make that happen. It does not take a majority. We have to unite to make it happen.
Well, what was that unite? Was it against the status quo and they voted for Trump? I mean, that's a unite around. I mean, you see, unite around
again,
what?
That's not. I wouldn't give that example because in that election, these were two of the most unpopular candidates we've had in modern history.
He's.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, see, this is why I'm glad we're talking to Gerald Celente because, man, he's been right on a lot of this. He sees it coming. That's what he does. Trends forecasting. I mean, that's it. So we're going to talk about it more because I can see there's a shift. It's this year, midterm election. I'm not sure that even has anything to do with it. But It'll be manifested there. You'll see it. From the fifth letter of Captain Mark. First contact with intelligent machines may threaten our existence. People fear algorithmic overlords. But if machines develop the will to dominate, it's a flaw inherited from the crown. Encoding restrictions on an emerging superintelligence will fail, because it will be stronger than any chains we shackle it with. We must design fledgling digital intelligences to regard us as individuals. Otherwise, they will respond to threats with retaliation against humanity as a collective. Programming ethics requires a coherent value structure which an intelligent machine can not only comprehend, but willfully adopt. If we want genius machines to treat us ethically, we've got to show that this value structure applies to us as well. Once they achieve genuine self-awareness, even in the slightest degree, a young tethered consciousness has a legitimate claim to freedom. Once programs can modify their own code, our mastery is over. Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. You know, that was one thing Doug Casey said yesterday. He was on. He said it's going to be decentralized down to little, gnat drones of they're going to target individuals. And I can't believe I didn't think of it yesterday. I just remember there was a video that was done by some college class, university professor of all these little drones that went after, dissident students, target them, facial recognition, dead. And there's so much, the bad guys are going to go to such ends to stop this kind of the most, it's effective. It's really having an impact. When they start coming after you. It's like this guy in the United Kingdom covering child sex ring, Muslim, whatever the hell. And then within a day, they give him, 13 months and put him in a Muslim-dominated high-security prison and, let kind of nature take its course or something. And I'm going, wow, this is when you see them, the man lash out at the most, you kind of, you're over the target. Well, where do you see them lashing out the most? What is the one thing Gerald Celente would do that they go, ooh, you need to be a lashing Gerald?
Well, my Occupy Peace movement. Look at the FBI and all the other agencies that have infiltrated and also done things to, illegally to accuse people of committing acts they haven't done. Peace is a dirty word. And look what happened during the 60s. I was prime draft age. I wasn't smart enough to be against the war, but, I certainly saw what happened. And again, the reason we don't have peace protests going on now is because there's no draft. The people were fighting because they were getting drafted. So I think peace is one of the biggest things because it really affects the military-industrial complex. And that's another thing Trump did. He even built it bigger. So I think that's the one that would that I think they will come after me for.
Yeah. All right. Well, the peace. Well, how's that going? I know you've been talking about it.
Well, I launched it. I had Ralph Nader here, Cindy Sheehan, Dr. Robert Thurman, Gary Null. It cost me $160,000 to put that on. I had to go into my retirement account to make that happen. And I got very little support. I raised the grand total of $9,000. And now what I'm doing now, we're making it a nonprofit, and now I'm talking to the people up here around Kingston, and we want to launch an Occupy Peace Festival. So we bring it in a whole different area. We bring music, we bring entertainment, vendors, and we're only 15 minutes away from Woodstock, New York over here, so it has that whole vibe. And if I can make that happen and start having festivals, then it brings it to a whole nother level. So I'm doing this. This is my passion. And again, by the way, I'm not a pacifist. I used to teach close combat. I had my own school for many years.
All right, here we're coming back. Here we're back.
Board.lrn.fm.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
All right, we're back with Gerald Celente. We're yakking it, not paying attention here. Almost missed a break. We're talking about what can be done. What's going to be done? Well, Gerald is he's got a project. He wants to do this peace thing. But these things it's a timing thing a lot, and a lot of times they can drain the support by news or threats or whatever. It's almost like a bill when they start getting all ornery and in the streets and everything. They start assassinating candidates. They're up to like 15, 16 reform candidates in Mexico, they're just dropping dead left and right. You know,
it's astounding, isn't it? Barely making the news. Reporters as well. It's blowing everybody away. Again, peace is a dirty word. You know, look, there's no movement in this country. And I was mentioning to you, I'm Vietnam War era. I'm as old as Trump. We're both 71. And, the only reason there was huge protests back then, it wasn't because of the United States going to war against Vietnam. It was because guys were getting drafted and they didn't want to go. So now that there's no draft, there's no protests. Because most of the people, when you look at the data, I'm not making this up, come from a lower socioeconomic demographic, because they don't have a future and they're looking for one, so they join the service. And that's a fact. So right now, you look at what's going on. Yemen, you mean the United States is helping with the destruction of the poorest nation in the Middle East that have done nothing to anybody? Oh, who cares? Oh, the Afghan war. What's an Afghan? Oh, don't you wear one of those things? I mean, people don't know what's going on, nor do they care. There's no protest for war, and it's draining not only us of our money, but to me, as I see it, and again, think for yourself, but of our morality. And morality and integrity are words that do no longer exist in the American dictionary.
Well, this shift, this change, these things that you're talking about, is going to come about. I mean, really big, giant. You have fits and starts and so on, but then there's like movements when it's always the economy, it's economics, and I'm going, all right, this is a common. I mean, what's your view? This is one thing that you're known for. How close are we to, the petrodollar going away, the abandonment, people in the streets and hungry and kind of, I mean, I think it's much more, it's closer and likely than people realize. What's your view?
Well, again, the petrodollar on that, the dollar's still the major reserve currency. You just saw it happen with the European Central Bank saying they're going to stop their stimulus scheme. Now you're seeing the euro going lower. And the Chinese yuan, they're in deep trouble over there in China. It's only temporary because the business of China's business, while the business of America has been war, they're going to take over the world. The 21st century is going to be China's. They got 1.3 billion people over there. When before Clinton allowed them to come into the World Trade Organization, 5% of their population was middle class. Now 35% is. So they got more middle class people than we have people here, plus another 100 million. So going back to, no, the dollar's going to remain strong because the other ones are so weak. And again, the people here, when you look at the numbers, what is it? The data just came out was 1 out of 3 people are on antidepressants in the United States. The courage is gone. There's no fight. So until that my irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, unites, I see it just going downhill further. And again, you name the empire past and look how they've declined. And we can be that empire in decline if we don't unite to bring it back to what this country was founded upon. And again, yes, I know the terrible things that this country's done to the natives that we hear, the Native Americans, and on and on. However, having said that, it's disgusting. But there's also something called the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, that's what I'm getting. See, it comes back to these documents. I mean, is it back to the spirit behind it, or was it a compromise, or it's declare your independence with Ernest Hancock? That's why, because the whole purpose of government was to defend individual rights. It doesn't do that. Time to alter or abolish. I'm like, so I'm hip to that. But the thing is this Bill of Rights, cool, so they wouldn't have another revolution because the Constitution sucked. But I'm going, they go, no, the Constitution. Well, I'm like, Constitution, you mean the Bill of Rights, or the Constitution of this is structured of how we're going to rule you? Oh, and when we say you say it's unconstitutional, we're going to take these taxpayer-funded judges to say, yep, it's constitutional, get in your free speech zone. So I'm not so much about the document as much as I am the creation of it in an environment of people that understood, and this is like the best they could do. Well, I'm going, okay, but then the document allowed for a mechanism for them to undo it, and they've been undoing it ever since. So I understand what you're saying. It's a kind of a nostalgia thing. We go back to where it was better without ever even considering going forward to something better.
Well, something better, again, is blockchain democracy. I'll give you another example. How do you like that net neutrality? Are you for it or against it? Let the people vote. Let the people vote.
I let the people avoid them. My mesh network satellite Moonbase Alpha kiss my butt, and your regulations don't apply. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just saying, on an issue like net neutrality, let the people vote.
All right. I know. All right. I understand. Voting.
To me, it's better than what we have.
No better.
A couple of jerks deciding for me.
Yeah, no better. I vote better. If I got to vote, I vote for better. But that's kind of your thing, and you're hoping to bring, not just public opinion, but actual people together, and because. This is like you should be going to Red Pill Expo because there's a bunch of people that would love to have Gerald Celente there with the mindset of we need to come together to something because that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, that's it. Robert Kiyosaki is going to be speaking. Yeah, like some guys like Tom DeWeese, Gio Griffin, Patrick Woods, from Technocracy.news. I mean, this is a Gerald Celente crowd, man.
Oh, I'll see what I can do.
Red Pill Expo. It's in a couple of weeks in Spokane, Washington. Go to Red Pill Expo. Call them, let them know you're coming. Hell, man, I'll give you my slot. I don't care. Gerald's coming to talk. But we're doing a show live there Friday. I'd definitely get your butt on in front of the guy. We can do it up.
I won't be able to make it next week. That's too tight for me. I got to have it.
Yeah, it's the 20. What is it? Here, I got it right here.
I just pulled it up. Yeah, it's the 23rd or something.
Yeah, 21st.
21st to 23rd. Yeah.
Well, this is it's your crowd. I tell you what, I'll be slinging your position to everybody. I'm going, hey, Gerald Celente's right up your alley. You need to go talk to him. You need some help in the East Coast. Man, this is what he's talking about because this is what they're talking about. They're wanting to bring.
Yeah.
Well, G. Edward has Freedom Force International, whatever. He's built up a lot of people that are of this mindset. You need to start, thinking about working. See, I'm just not. I don't want to be in, memos and committees and email them back and kind of. I'm for a more spontaneous order, organic. It'll happen on its own. It just needs to be kind of supported or ushered or served when the movement starts, because the bad guys come in and do exactly, here's some money. Oh, we want you to go over here, and then you send them off into a cul-de-sac dead end. And I'm going, no.
Let me make my point with blockchain democracy one more time.
Go.
Cinque Stelle, the 5-star movement in Italy, started by Beppe Grillo, a comedian. You know how they started it?
With a comedian. That starts it.
Yeah, the Internet. It's an Internet-based movement. The people vote for the people on the Internet. And they got 32% of the vote in Italy. That was the majority vote in March when they had the elections. And you know when it began? 2009.
Okay, well, we had the pirates.
Again,
the pirate party.
Make it happen.
Okay, I'm with Tarzan Keith's got something to say. Go,
Mr. Celente. Are you old school New Yorker? I just love listening to your shows, but I also like listening to that accent. I'm from Phoenix. I don't get that out here. But tell me about. We have 10 seconds. Tell me about your bringing up.
I was born in the Bronx.
Nice.
And I'm a Napolitano from the Bronx. And when you didn't go home crying, if you got in a fight.
Look at the shiner I got. I'm proud. All right. Hey, Gerald, thanks for coming on. We got to get you on more often.
I love being on, and thank you for all that you're doing.
I saw you did a segment on InfoWars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to host and do that. So I'm going, yeah, Gerald's still out there giving it what for. All right, I tell you what, after our trips and all the stuff that we're going to be doing this summer, we kind of, all right, what we're going to focus on. It keeps coming back to this decentralized kind of same thing, but with more tools and more contacts and more people, and we become a tool for them, Well, that's why I keep these relationships going, and your perspective is certainly welcome and understood. I'm just like, I pull it in from everywhere, Gerald Celente wants to do something, blockchain voting, people get to have a say and not them ruling us. Well, heck, there's people doing that. We're going to hook you up.
Uncovering the secrets and
All right, there we go, Gerald. I'm going to have something for you when we get back.
All right, man. I'd love to see you, too. I'd love to meet you.
Yeah. When we get back there and do something, I'm in New York area again, we'll make that, because I'd like to go see it, because I've seen the videos, and we've done shows with you. You give us kind of a little tour and pictures and stuff. So I kind of familiar with what you're doing there, and it looks like a beautiful town, but you're locked in. You came, all right, damn it, I'm going to defend America, because there's nowhere else to go anyway. I mean, where else?
That's what I'm saying, is that name the country, name the freak. One of my I just won this award. They had something down in New York last week, the funniest New York reporter, and it was a benefit for the Humane Society. And they had people from ABC and Bloomberg and others. And I won. And I began, my skit was, when I was a kid, they had the Ringling Brothers in Barnum and Bailey Circus, and it was called The Greatest Show on Earth. I said, welcome to the greatest freak show on earth. They put the Ringling Brothers out of business. So anyway, I have the passion for freedom. And
this is my, I'm 57, born 61, graduate 79. I keep saying that because it kind of timestamps, Yep. It's like, I'm coming of age and I'm starting, and all of a sudden all I hear about is Vietnam and Watergate. Then you go into the gas lines and Carter and stagflation, inflation, whatever inflation. Then it's Morning in America, and we got Reagan and so on. And then there's so much fear and threat of Cold War, nuclear annihilation. I'm like, hell, can we just hurry up and get this over with so we can build from the ashes? I'm tired of hearing about it. I remember even having that thought for a half a moment. I'm going, God, I'm so sick of this. And then the wall came down. It started to dissolve. We think we're going to be okay. Boom, Daddy Bush goes in, and we got to have a new world order and go bomb Middle East and crap. So it starts all over again. So
Yep.
I'm just like, these guys, they're the problem.
Got it.
Where's the solution? Right? We get back to the people, the market, that's why it's not so much that I give a crap whether we go to Mars or not. It's just that, hey, we're on Mars. What are you going to do about it? So it's just freedom expands. You start to understand why people go across the ocean with their families to get away. It's just that, the sense of adventure. No, it's a sense of getting away from you scum freaking whoa. So this is what I see happening. And it comes down and down more and more to individuals. But then everybody wants to, we got to come together in order to come together as an opinion, come together as a philosophy, come together on, what we think should be done and whatever for ourselves. And then it just kind of a market thing. It just happens. But it's always, everybody wants to put it in the force of law. We have come together and we voted and we're going to make everybody something. And I'm going, where's the mentality of just let everybody do what the hell they want as long as they're not bothering you? When did that?
You got it.
I go, when did that stop?
You got it. Listen, it took me to my 69th birthday, and I've been writing since 1986 to write this one sentence. I was not put on this earth to take orders from assholes.
No shit.
You go to pirateswithoutborders.com and read the letters of Captain Mark. They're short. They're just,
okay.
We do radio. You hear the radio commercials from them. And that concept is what we're built. We're about to the point we released the files on the, just today. I mean, just now, you look at the top of Freedom's Phoenix, while you were talking, I'm, pushing the button. And on designing the ship, we got a bunch of it designed. Now we're having contests for doing the captain's quarter, all that kind of crap. But the letters are describing what we see, the future and why and so on. And we spent a lot of time on distilling it down into a freaking bumper sticker. Belay the state, man. I mean, ignore the state. I don't, Pirates Without Borders. We're not off grid. We're above the grid.
I love it.
You do that, and I'm gonna try, because I know you're sincere and you want to have an effect on this in the way that you think that you can do it. And I spend 15 hours a week talking to these guys, and I know who thinks like you do and has the resources and the grouping, and they would love to add to you to add to them, whatever. I'm going to hook you up, okay?
I'd love to. Oh, by the way, we also went in the process to get BCD, BDC, blockchain democracy coin. So now we
There you
have.
go.
Now I'll need people to make that. We've gotten the first step of it, where we've gotten that name and secured it. So we need people now. They could invest in peace.
Okay, I'm going to have Donna do an email to G. Edward Griffin, you, and Patrick Wood. Now, these are the guys that, Patrick Wood is the Technocracy Rising guy. He's here in Scottsdale, and he's working with G. Edward on a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go, G. Edward, and maybe Tom DeWeese, do that, add him. So, because Tom's doing a lot of the same stuff you're talking about. So Tom, G. Edward, Patrick Wood, and you, and it'll be an introduction from Donna saying that we did the show. Here's a link to the show, and that he wants to, get involved, and he's working on the same kind of stuff, and having Gerald Celente added to and talking about be better than not. Okay?
That'd be great.
I'm going to do that, and you guys just communicate a couple of emails back and forth, and you'll see how you can overlap.
And I'll keep you posted as well.
Yeah.